When you're identifying how to use data analytics, you want to identify the risk areas for the audit objective. And that would come down to, is it a plain vanilla audit where you're looking at the AR aging and a customer credit limit analysis, or is it something more interesting, which may involve a forensic analysis or a fraud investigation? One area would be just to check and verify compliance with company policies, such as the proper aging of receivables and adherence to company credit limit policies, trying to validate if there are any customers who are over their credit limits, where the other area could involve risks that relate to the competitive advantage or even the viability of the company. So once you've identified the risks, then you can determine how to best use the data analytics. Once you've identified the risk areas, there are various types of analysis you can do, and you have to determine what kind of data you're looking at. You can have low volume or low complexity in your volume, and you can do a manual analysis. So you could just obtain the data in a spreadsheet and review it that way. As an example of this, there are areas where in Europe, a lot of countries still use credit limits and credit insurance to determine credit limits assigned to customers. So if you have a certain credit limit that's blanketed by the insurance policy, such as 50,000 euros, and anyone over that needs special permission, you simply get the list of customers who are over the 50,000 euro credit limit and match it up against your customer credit limits assigned in the system. Anyone who's not on the credit company's list would be a violation against policy. If you're looking at medium or high volume of data or high complexity, then you have to go into doing various data analytics. You can use software for this, such as Excel or data and analysis tools such as ACL or IDEA. And when you look at that area, you're looking at large amounts of transactional information. And you need to be able to compare and evaluate the initial data you received and understand the information that's inside of it before you're able to properly manipulate it and then conclude on the information that you get out of it.
Okay, well, thanks again, Steve, for that. And what I wanted to do is continue on from where Steve had left off, and just provide a few overcoming obstacles that I've thought about. For the most part, in using data analytics on every audit, it's a great idea to brainstorm the use in the planning process, and a lot of times that step, as simple as it sounds, is just overlooked. And a way to obviously focus on it is just to spend a little bit of time, but also maybe at the beginning of every year to spend some time and really think about, for all the audits that we're going to be doing this year, how could we brainstorm there, and overall. From a risk assessing from the general ledger point of view, I want to show you later how you could stratify by month and by account, and there's ways to just take the general ledger and look from a daily processing point of view, from a month and year point of view, and get a sense of where are there time frames that might be risky, but also maybe just even doing it by business unit and then by month and account. You can learn quite a bit as well. And I think if it is possible, to drop an audit and gain some time for that so that you can spend it doing a bit of data fun across all audits, where, now there will be another few hundred hours that everyone can spend upon using data analytics, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I do find, going back to the audit plan, that audit, I guess from an audit planning point of view, it tends to be an overlooked area, and if you could kind of make that conscious step, it might actually give you the ability to do it more so in this year. I think making it a part of people's annual audit objectives may be something that is not well received by the team, but is a way to get it in there. And I find once it becomes part of your annual audit objectives to utilize data analytics, that it is utilized a lot more so than not. I also am a big believer in just using low-cost solutions from a get-go perspective, that you can get a lot out of Excel and pivot tabling, and we have a lot of training on that, but there's a lot out there that you can find, and Jim had mentioned Mr. Excel. MrExcel.com. He has videos, podcasts, books, etc. For all the training that we do in this area. There's so much that you can learn and utilize in Excel. But other products as well are fantastic. I use some of them every day. I think from a training point of view as well that you can do a lot of this self-study. I find that watching videos, going to webinars is a great way to learn, and something that if you can do it, just an hour or so a week, couple hours a week even, that you can learn quite a bit and move forward over a year's time much more than anyone else. I mean, it would be 24 hours of training, right? If you did a couple of hours a month, that it really isn't that hard. And then you could always work up to the more advanced tools. What we'll also talk about is when you're integrating into your audit plan is I am a big believer in cost savings along the way and tracking those cost savings. We could find that by using tools you can actually find quite a bit of money, duplicate payments, overpayments, areas where you may not be collecting enough cash from your customers, inventory leakage. They're all areas that data analytics can just shine a light in there, and as long as you track it, it does give you the money to pay for some of those approaches. And okay, well, moving onward, from just common approaches to overcoming obstacles and why people aren't using it and all that stuff. I did want to give that perspective because I think a lot of you out there are, I don't want to say struggling, but striving to use data analytics more, and it may be a little more difficult for you.